Germany, and growing up in a Christian family, Christmas Eve is actually the main event. So the night of 24th is when they go to church and when you give all the gifts to the kids under the Christmas tree. So it's my special honor and pleasure at the same time now to actually give a Buddhist Dhamma talk right on Christmas Eve. Amazing. And I think it's always good to start with some meditation. Yeah, shall we have a short guided meditation, 15 minutes or something? Yeah. And of course, now I'm no longer a Christian. Actually, I've never really been, never was a believer. Wouldn't go to church. But I don't want to let go of Santa yet. Because who is saying that Santa is a Christian? I'm quite happy to see him as a symbol of generosity. So on this occasion, eve of 24th December, I'd like to suggest that we do a little Santa meditation. Maybe sit down, you keep the body upright, but not uptight, relaxed, but alert and aware. And then we focus on training the mind. Now please entertain conjecture for the moment that you are Santa. You are Santa Claus and you're carrying this big rucksack. This is a big rucksack with gifts for all the kids in the whole world. It was a big, big rucksack. Fortunately, you have got the support of the reindeers and the sleigh. It's still a big sack. So you're Santa carrying the sack of gifts. And you have got only one job. What is your one job? Giving away all the gifts in that huge sack. The Santa doesn't hold back. The gifts are not for him. His job is to give them all away. To completely empty that sack. Now the sack is a metaphor for your mind. And the gifts, so to speak, all the stuff inside that sack you probably already encounter, all the stuff coming up. Memories, thoughts, worries, feelings, emotions, images, fantasies, plans, little traumas, our hopes. So Santa opening the sack, whatever gift He takes out, he sees what it is, for which kid to give it, and then he gives it away. You do the same thing, whatever bubbles up in our mind. If we recognize it with mindfulness, with awareness, this is this old worry again about the future. And we give it away. We don't hold on to it. We empty that sack. One kid asked for this beautiful little doll. Now Santa pulls out that beautiful doll out of the sack. He doesn't get distracted, he doesn't get attracted, doesn't get enamored with that cute little doll. He gives it away as a gift, not for him. Beautiful, alluring images, fantasies, hopes for the future arise. We give them away. Not for us, don't belong to us. We empty that sack. One kid asked for a little monster, or maybe a dinosaur, Tyrannosaurus, Velociraptor. So Santa puts out this frightening dinosaur or monster. He doesn't panic, he doesn't drop the sack and run away. He just passes a gift on to the kid, asking for it. He recognizes monster, Velociraptor, with awareness, and then he gives it away. He knows, not mine, doesn't belong to me. I have to empty the sack and give all gifts away. So some painful memory arises, some little trauma comes up. We don't get frightened, we don't panic. The mind doesn't try to run away. But we recognize, not mine. My job is to empty the mind. Give it all away. Bad memories, pain, traumas, hurt. of whatever comes up in the mind, frightening or enticing, boring or exciting, past or future, feeling or thought or image. Just like Santa, we have one job only. Let go, give it away. Just imagine Santa pulling out one little gift there. Maybe a new iPhone or an older kid. And then he likes it so much that he starts unwrapping it himself and he starts playing around with that gift. That's not a good Santa. Belongs to the kid who asked for it. He has to give it away, not unwrap it and start playing with it. Certainly not to slip it in his own pocket and try to take it away with him. That would be a sneaky Santa. But we make sure that we're not a sneaky Santa. Whatever comes up in our mind, we're not unwrapping it. We're not playing around with it. It's enough to mindfully, with awareness, recognize it. A feeling, a memory, a thought, a fantasy, a fear. It's enough, not unwrapping, not engaging, just giving it away, dropping, like Santa. Emptying the sack, giving it all away. Not sneakily trying to hold on to anything because it looks so nice or interesting. One job only, giving away, gift after gift, whatever arises, whatever comes up, not holding on, dropping, giving away. And as he is working, Santa is delighted how the sack is becoming lighter and lighter. So we are delighted. Can you feel it? When you drop these issues, if you don't engage, if you don't hold on, if you give it away, the mind becomes much lighter, less heavy, less dark. The mind starts becoming bright and smiley, like a good Santa is smiling, happy. So pleasant to give everything away. So much more happiness in emptying the sack than carrying all this stuff around. whatever is in the sack, whatever comes up in the mind. Not unwrapping, not getting enamored or repulsed, just giving it away, dropping it, letting go. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Could you lighten the sack a bit? Or were you sneaky Santa? Did you try to play with the gifts yourself and unwrap them and engage? You wouldn't be happy in those days when I was young. Some of the other students, they did that as a job. Someone would hire them to play Santa for their kids, and giving them the gifts without the kids knowing it beforehand, and then the student has to dress up as Santa. He rings at the door, and the kids are very delighted. And then of course that Santa's job is to give all these gifts to the kids. It would be very sneaky if he kept anything behind for himself. So please don't be a sneaky Buddhist, a Dhamma practitioner, not holding on to anything. As long as we hold on to anything, we are not fully following the teaching of the Buddha. The Buddha said, "Na sabbe dhamma nadang abhinivesaya." No, all dhammas, all phenomena whatsoever are not worth holding on to, because they're impermanent. They're not really ourselves. No, they are ultimately unsatisfactory. However, you may have noticed, do you find it easy to completely empty the sack? No, it's not easy. No? It's very difficult to let go. It's not an easy job to be a good Santa. There's a strong tendency that we want to keep things, we want to hold on. And the crazy thing is, have you noticed even the painful stuff, that you don't want to give it away? I mean, we can, in a sense, easy to understand if you have some beautiful fantasies, some plans for the future, the nice cruise. This is something, okay, one can somehow understand why we hold on to that. But if someone hurt our feelings, they said something that really upset us, some old trauma or pain decades ago, even that we insist on holding on. Even that we don't quite want to let go. Isn't it crazy? So, fortunately, the Buddha has given us what is called the gradual training. The Buddha fully understands that our mind, that the human beings, we don't have that ability to just stop everything. A very high power people, sometimes they can do it very quickly. But by and large, we need that gradual practice, anupupasika, gradual training. It usually goes from the easier things to the more difficult. It goes from the coarser phenomena to the more refined ones. It goes from more external to more internal. And what is the first step in that gradual training of giving everything away, letting go of everything? The first step, of course, is simply the practice of dharma, generosity. It's fairly obvious. If our aim is that one day we want to absolutely let go of everything, even this body, even our feelings, thoughts, intentions, consciousness, and so on. Now, how can we do that if we can't even occasionally let go of some food, or some time, or some energy, or some money? Now, this is a very practical approach for learning to let go. Now, the moment you take some of your money and give it for some charitable purpose to someone who is urgently in need of it, or supporting the Sangha. The moment you let go of some of your time, the time nowadays is sometimes even more precious than money, isn't it? And the being willing to give away some of our time to help others, to look after others rather than looking after our own needs and what we like. Now, this is an act of letting go, very straightforward, practical. Any of our material possessions, something we have that conventionally is considered as being mine, belonging to me, my property, being owned by me in the conventional sense, and being able to overcome that. Each act of giving something, whether it is a material object, whether it's money, or whether it is our time, our skill, our energy. Energy is also limited, isn't it? And for sure, if you're already working a job, and then you're trying on volunteer basis to run a big organization like Bubs, you need people who are willing to give some of their limited energy and to expand that as an act of giving and charity. But each time we do that, even as one spoonful of rice into the bowl of the monk, this is an act of training ourselves in the mode of letting go, in the mode of abandoning, of emptying. Now, many people find the concept of not self, anatta, this hallmark of the Buddha's teaching, quite challenging. It's not easy to understand. Are you 100% clear? You fully understand anatta, what that means, not self? It's often not so easy, isn't it? And one way of approaching it, if there's a self, the self would have to own things. These two go together. The Buddha said atta and attaniyam, a self and possessions belonging to a self. And they support each other and they stand and fall together. So someone who has no possessions whatsoever, someone who holds on to nothing as mine, that very same moment they would also be free from the delusion of self. The moment someone is free from the delusion of self, they also be free from the delusion of that they own anything. So if you're not quite sure what is the exact meaning of not self, the one way we can approach it is ownership, possessions. And the more we can let go of anything which we believe we own, that we possess, the more we can also understand not self. the more we are approaching and practically developing understanding of not self. And so we start off on our course of letting go of everything, of trying to abandon everything by generosity. And we make that a habit. One thing is that you, of course, get all the good karma. We know whenever we give something, the result in the future will be that we have things, that we get things. And even with a huge magnifying effect. It's not like if you offer one meal to the Sangha, that somewhere in a future life you'll be getting one meal. But by offering one meal, somewhere in the future you may be getting literally thousands or even millions of meals, if it is given with a pure heart and is given to the Sangha. And so, this is there. There's the karmic effect. Every act of generosity is a support in the future for a fortunate rebirth as a human, as a deva. Every act of giving and charity is a support in the future that we will be wealthy, that we will have possessions and be born in a wealthy family. This is a karmic effect of giving, but there's a deeper effect of it, and that is a training preparing us for the more profound aspects of the Buddhist practice, which is letting go. In Pali, that is expressed by these two different terms, the dana. I think you have all heard dana. That is giving, charity, food offering. But there's also another term for giving, which is charga. Charga also means giving, generosity, but here the emphasis is more on the act of letting go and giving away. So we are not only giving in order to accumulate good karma that will come back to us in the future, we are also giving in order to train us in the mode of letting go. Because in our society, from a young age, we are kind of being trained that we should learn to acquire things. We are being conditioned by advertisements, by marketing, by the whole way society works, that we should be trying to get things in order to be happy. Isn't it? This is what every advertisement suggests. Have you noticed in the advertisements that people always look very attractive and happy? And there's this family, and they have this new television, and this family looks somehow more happy than your family. Because they're obviously picking people, and they do that very skillfully. This is what they're subliminally suggesting to you. Everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants their family to be happy. And now they present you this perfectly happy person, this perfectly happy family, and they put this television in there. Or they put this mobile phone in there, and then you start subconsciously thinking, that's the reason. These ones are so happy because they have this phone, because they have that television, because they have the new electric car. That goes subconsciously. This is how it's being suggested to you by the advertisements. And this is how we are being conditioned. The more I accumulate, the more I get, the more happy I will be. Only one problem with this. This is a teaching of Mara. This is not the teaching of the Buddha. The Buddha teaches the opposite. It may sound challenging, but what the Buddha says, that the less you have, the less suffering you will have. Because if we investigate, we will notice every possession is a burden. And every possession you will not be able to keep. The Buddha actually said, okay, if you can find any possession, any object, anything you can keep forever. Forever doesn't mean 100 years or something. Forever means forever. Go for it. Hold on to it, cling to it. No problem. If you can find something that you can keep forever. This is obviously a big if, ne? Because the Buddha knows you will not find anything. If you could find something that you could own and possess forever, you would have kind of refuted the Buddha. But I'm quite confident you will not find anything. At the latest, usually at death, we have to let go of it, if it's something material. Even if it's our good karma, that may last into many future lifetimes, but even the good or bad karma, one day will be exhausted. There's absolutely nothing which we can keep forever. If we can't keep it forever, it means one day it will be taken away from us unless we give it away. If it's being taken away from us, it will be painful, isn't it? Something we hold on to, we regard as mine, which is a possession, and now it's taken away, it will be painful. This is why the Buddha says, ultimately possessions are a burden, they are a cause of suffering. It's a little bit, imagine you're traveling maybe in a country not so safe, and some dark street, and some muggers come, pull out a gun or a knife, and they want your wallet. Do you think it's a good idea to hold on to your wallet in front of the muggers? It may become very painful. Often, if you give it to them, then maybe okay, and then they leave. If you hold on to it, they may forcefully take it away, and that may be much more painful. But with the muggers, maybe the police comes, or maybe you are stronger than them. But when it comes to possession and impermanence, it will always be stronger, however much we hold on to it. In the end, the impermanence or whatever happens there, they will take it away. This is why the Buddha recommended the possessions are the cause of our misery, not the cause of our happiness. And this is why he recommends us to recondition ourselves. And deep down we can actually feel that. The teachings of the Buddha are always open to investigation. Pasiko, come and see. The Buddha actively invites us to come and check out what he is teaching. You don't have to take that on blind faith. You don't have to just believe the monks or the Buddha, and you can try it out. And we can, for example, go on a big shopping trip. Retail therapy, shop till you drop. We really max out the credit card, go buy it all. And of course, you get some kick there, and then you have all the designer wear bags and loaded with that, you go back home. But check out, is that a really satisfactory happiness? Do you really feel happy from that? In particular, once you unpack it and now you have it, and then next day, a week later, is it a real lasting happiness? Is it really satisfactory? Or is it more like, you have this stuff and then you have to go for the latest one and for some more? Not really fulfilling. On the other hand, if you do a really good act, with some elderly relative in the hospital, in the nursing home, you sacrifice some time, you sacrifice some energy, you just give a little gift. Doesn't even have to be expensive, just a nice gesture. And you make their day, you may be making their week or their month with your visit. And this person is so happy that you have time for them, that you look after them, that you think of them, that you're sharing time with them. And how does that one feel? Or you're working hard to get the tax exemption through for the Bubs. You're working hard to organize a committee, to have monks visiting, to organize a Dhamma school. And then you see, on the Dhamma school Sundays, you see the crowds of kids. How many kids have you coming here for Dhamma school on a Sunday? 100 or 200 plus? Now imagine that you work really hard, you sacrifice, and you're tired, And you get this Dhamma school going, and then you come here on a Sunday and you see the 200 plus kids studying Dhamma, learning about the Buddha, about the Triple Gem, strengthening their faith and conviction. And that kind of happiness you feel when you see that, and when you contemplate that maybe for their whole life they have a foundation now in faith and confidence. And that happiness, compared with the happiness of retail therapy, what is better? Do you need the Buddha to tell you which is better, or can you feel that out yourself? I can see you feel it yourself. No? So this is generosity. It's not just to make good karma, but it is training ourselves in the mode of letting go, of dropping things, of not accumulating, of emptying the sack, of not carrying all this heavy stuff. Each time that you give something away, you will have that feeling that you empty the rucksack. But of course, this is only the beginning of the training. There's more we have to let go of. Even if you're really, really generous and you give thousands, spending hours and hours working, service, what else do we have to give away? Imagine someone doing all this service, someone working so hard for a Buddhist organization, helping the Sangha, helping poor people, giving. And then they're also killing, stealing, adultering, lying, and getting sloshed. Will that be good Dhamma practice? No. So we have to give away these unwholesome behavior. You can see the practice of virtue, sila, keeping precepts. You can also see it as an act of letting go and dropping things. If you keep the first precept of not killing, what you're giving away, what you're dropping, what you're emptying, is the act of killing and harming other beings. This is a huge act of letting go. The moment you take refuge and then you commit yourself to the first precept, that means now you're letting go of killing and harming and violence. This is huge. This is big. The Buddha calls that the gift of fearlessness, abhaya-dana. A similar second precept, adinna-dana vedamani. This is a huge act of letting go. You're letting go of the act of stealing, of taking away things from others which we are not entitled to. It's a big act of letting go. With the third precept, the letting go of that sensual indulgence which is causing so much conflict in families, which is causing so much pain, which is so much the cause of divorce and disharmony in the family, of not being faithful to the spouse. And when you commit to the third precept, when you commit to loyalty and faithfulness to your spouse, to your partner, you can also see that as an act of letting go of sensual misbehavior. Letting go of lying is a big letting go. You're misrepresenting truth. Now this is also another one really important to train us for the deeper aspects of the path. Because deeper down in our mind we tend to lie to ourselves. Do you agree? Do you lie to yourself, or are you always 100% honest with yourself? It sounds maybe challenging, but if we are investigating that, maybe we like to lie to ourselves. We already talked about that. We lie to ourselves, if I will have this, I will be happy. Possessions make me happy. This love will last forever. Once I get that job, I will be happy. Once the mortgage is paid off. These are all little lies. You will not be fully happy. Because you have done a lot of that and it never resulted in perfect happiness. No love lasts forever. It may last till one of the two dies. Now, this is the best that can be achieved. But then obviously, what can you do? No? So this is a little lies we are telling ourselves. This is the Fleetwood Mac. No? Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. We all like that. No? We like to tell the little lies to ourselves. So how can we ever stop telling little lies to ourselves if we can't even stop telling lies to other people? So this is a precept meant to protect us from doing harm by misrepresenting truth to others and making bad karma. But it's also a precept that on a deeper level is training us to have that commitment to truthfulness and honesty, that we can develop that brutal honesty with ourselves, because that's what we need in our practice. Have you ever seen that situation where you have a little bit different opinion and then one person contradicts you and then contradictory statements and one person raises their voice and they get quite angry? And then you say, oh, no need to get angry. I'm not angry. Have you ever encountered that? So it's actually quite possible to be angry and to honestly think, I'm not angry. And if you see it in others, what do you think? Does it only happen in others that they get angry and not notice it? Or could it maybe happen to ourselves? In ourselves we may not see it, no? But is that really likely? Or these other people? Or other people get jealous and they don't notice it. Other people are conceited, they don't notice it. Other people are lazy and not noticing it. But I myself, seems to be all quite okay. Is that likely? Or is it maybe that we are lying a bit to ourselves? I'm not conceited, I'm not arrogant, I'm not jealous, I'm not angry, I'm not lazy. Maybe I'm overlooking something, isn't it? So this is what the brutal honesty I mean. I don't mean brutal honesty with others. not like, okay mate, I give you some really good feedback now. This is easy, being brutally honest with others. But being brutally honest with oneself, this is a difficult one. So the fourth precept, that act of letting go of lying in the conventional world, this is a much coarser phenomenon. What is conventionally considered as true and false, and we represent it to others, and we avoid false statements. If we can't do that, how will we ever see through these little deceptions which we use in our own mind for ourselves? And letting go of the indulgence of alcohol and intoxicants. Alcohol is a narcotic. You're trying to awaken. By taking a narcotic, you're not going to awaken. Alcohol is a diminishing awareness. We want to make awareness as wide and limitless and bright as we can. Alcohol destroys the sense of shame and conscience. And shame and conscience is the most fundamental quality for growing in Dhamma. If we have a strong sense of shame and conscience, just on our own we will not do bad things, because our conscience is telling us what is right and what is wrong. And we will naturally grow. If we are losing our sense of conscience and shame, how are we possibly in the progress in our path of purification and becoming a good, better person and attaining Nibbana? And so we let go, and that's another act of letting go. So we are down now, every act of giving as an act of letting go. The next one, the precepts. You can see the precepts as the letting go of that particular unwholesome behavior. And if you want to crank it up and want to let go a little bit more, you can do 8 precepts. This is quite a bit of letting go. We're letting go of dinner. Do you think that you can attain Nibbana, total freedom, when you're attached to food and eating? Is that possible? Can we abandon attachment to food and eating if we can't even let go of dinner for full moon days, or maybe once a week, the full moon days? It would be difficult, no? On 8 precepts, you can still eat, you can still have breakfast and lunch. There's only occasionally skipping the dinner for the 8 precept day. If I feel, no, this is a bit too much and I can't let go of dinner once a week or for the moon days, it would be quite difficult to abandon all attachment to food altogether. That's a good practice. And it accumulates. It may not sound so much, but even if you do only the full moon day, that is 12 times a year, if you do that for 50 years, you would have already 50 by 12, 600 would be 600 days. Living almost like a monk on 8 precepts. 600 days is getting close to 2 years. If you do the new moon days as well, or if you do all 4 one path, in 50 years you would be living something like 80 years, like a monk or nun, very similar. So it's a powerful practice. And then the next one, the long one, the Natcha Gita Vadita Visuka Dasama. This is a very long precept, because there's a lot of letting go there. Letting go of garlands, letting go of jewelry, just for one day. Not wearing it. You don't have to give it away. Just not wearing it. Getting used to that idea. You're not wearing that jewelry anyhow in your next life. You have to leave it behind. Maybe you can still wear it in the coffin. You can still have all the stuff and put it on the body, but that's the end of it. The next life you can't wear it. You come naked as a screaming little infant, it's slimy, screaming your head off. This is how we come into this world. Without jewelry, without car, without degree. It has to be all left behind. And here we come naked. Only our karma and our mind, that's the only thing we take with us. So don't look too much after these possessions, and after the jewelry, after the car, after the degree, after the address and the house. Because next time round, you come as this little infant. The only thing you take with you is your mind and your karma. So a smart person will invest in that, isn't it? If that's the only thing you can take with you beyond death, I would think it's smarter to look after the mind and one's karma than to look after one's possessions, because that is stuff you can't take it anyhow. So 8 precept is great if you want to do more letting go. Dancing, singing, watching YouTube videos, Spotify, in one day. And then the comfortable, indulgent asanas and beds, getting down a little bit, getting closer to earth, getting back, the 8th precept. So the next step on the gradual path of letting go and dropping things. And now it's getting really tough. So now you have been practicing regularly letting go, and there was many acts of charity and giving. Material possessions, service, time, energy, you're doing that. And then you're also practicing letting go of killing, letting go of stealing, letting go of sensual misconduct, letting go of lying, letting go of alcohol intoxicants. Maybe you're even letting go once a week of dinner and Spotify and YouTube videos and wearing the jewelry and the makeup. Now we're getting ready for some real letting go. What's the next one? And now comes the Chitta Parisuddhi, letting go of in the mind, purifying the mind. That is the thoughts, that is the emotions. So when an angry thought comes up, what does a good center do? Give it away, drop it. And a thought of desire and passion comes up. Giving away, dropping it. And a thought of jealousy comes up. And a thought of arrogance comes up. And so on. Now the next one is dropping all this mental stuff. You could also call it the emotions. The anger is an unskillful emotion. And that comes up. The job is to let go, to abandon it, to drop it. And desire and passion comes up. The job is not to let go, to abandon it, to drop it. When conceit comes up, when laziness comes up, when depression comes up, frustration, I'm down, I'm in the blues, I'm having the blues, I feel like throwing the towel. Would the Buddha call that something to hold on to? Well, that's also something that we have to abandon. We have to let go, we have to drop. And that is where we go into formal meditation. You can do that also in daily life, in your interactions, the more causal manifestations of anger or other unwholesome states that we can catch in our daily normal life. But to make it more refined, that is a time when you go into a formal meditation. And watching actually the thoughts arising, watching the intentions arising, and purifying that. A wide effort, bringing up wholesome states, bringing up metta, loving kindness, may all beings be happy and well. This is actually something you can hold on for the time being. I'm talking a lot about the practice of letting go, but sometimes we also need something wholesome to hold on in order to let go of the unwholesome stuff. And it's a little bit, the simile is like climbing a ladder. You can't really let go of one rung of the ladder unless you're holding on to a higher one to pull yourself up. And then the one you're standing on that ladder, that's the one you let go. Now you pull yourself up to something higher. And metta can pull you up above anger. You're holding on to loving kindness, goodwill to all beings in order to let go of anger and irritation. The contemplation of impermanence. You can contemplate impermanence, you hold on to that in order to let go of the desire and passion. You can contemplate the true nature of the body. This is something you can watch YouTube even when you're on 8 precepts. I can really recommend surgery videos. Have you ever watched that? So many of the surgeons nowadays, they're putting that out. Some as educational, really even for other surgeons and medical professionals. But they're also putting it out as an advertisement for their services, and I can really recommend watching live facelift surgery. If you want to know what the body really looks like, this is fantastic. It's the same, like if you my rope is a little bit creasy, folding, so you just pull it tight, and then the folds are out. So what they do at a facelift, they're cutting Usually at the hairline, that you don't see it so much, behind the ear. Cut it open, then you go under the skin. They even have this little, it's like a tiny vacuum cleaner, and they can go and they pull the skin off, and then they go underneath and can slurp out some of the fat. And they open it, and you can look underneath, and you see the smash, and you see the nerves and the blood vessels. And then you just pull it tighter. And then you fix it up, sew it again, and then there's this overlap which you cut off. And because when you pull it tighter, then will be at the same line, there will be kind of overlap, and so that is cut off, and then you sew it back on. Fairly simple. This is something you can watch all day, even when you're on 8 precepts. And you watch a live facelift surgery, tummy tuck, mummy makeover, cutting open here, and the same thing, getting the fat out. And when you watch that, desire and passion fades away. So you can hold on to that kind of images to overcome the images of desire and passion. There's another big one we have to let go, the wrong view. This is another one. The Buddha talked about clinging attachment, upadana, detupadana, wrong view in particular. One should, in the end, we should let go even of right view. We shouldn't even hold on to right view. But how much more wrong view? What is the point? No one knows giving, and do we really have good karma? Is there anything after death? That may be nothing. Now, this is not a wholesome opinion, it's not a wholesome view. If I don't have conviction that karma actually works, if I'm not convinced that consciousness continues after death, I have much less motivation to live a good life. If I have the conviction, if I have the view well established that every action I do will have a karmic result, and when I harm others it will come back as pain and suffering to me. If I do good to others it will come back as joy and happiness to me. If I have that conviction, obviously I make a much bigger effort to do good things and avoid bad things. If I think that there's nothing after death, what's the point in it all? What's the point in trying a great spiritual practice? If I'm convinced that consciousness will reconnect and go to a new life, to a new rebirth, and according to my karma, I will make damn sure that I make a big effort to have good karma and to purify my mind, because that is what goes to the next life. We have that in Australia. You may have heard that when people arrive without visa in Australia, that they're sometimes shipped off to Nauru and to these immigration detention camps. Have you heard of that? It's not a nice place. These immigration detention camps they have, what they call illegal immigrants in Australia. But you can also come to Australia with a flight from Singapore Airlines, first class, being picked up at a stretched limo and off to the presidential suite in the Hilton. How would you prefer arriving in Australia? On a little boat, floating in the ocean, like the boat refugees, and then maybe being picked up by the Coast Guard and off to Nauru in the detention camp? Or would you prefer arriving with the first-class Singapore Airlines stretched limo and the Hilton suite? Do you have a preference here? How about your next life? How do you like to arrive in the next life? And I'm using that as a simile for next life. And if you have all that good karma, if you have that conviction and right view and the efficacy of karma and the rebirth, and you have practiced generosity, you have worked in purifying your mind, at least to some extent, this is how you arrive, like Deva Loka, or human rebirth in a good family where the parents love you, where the family has got status and has at least some wealth, where the family has faith, and the parents train you immediately from young age in being a good person. They are keeping precepts themselves. They have connection to good monks, they have connections to Buddhist centers. Now, this is how you grow up. You're attractive, you're healthy, things work out nicely. Now, this is not good fortune. This is actually really misleading to talk about good luck and bad luck. There's no such thing as good luck or bad luck if you have faith in the Buddha's teaching. There's only karma. What we call bad luck is actually bad karma. Sometimes actually also bad karma, and we are just acting unskillfully right now, and we're causing trouble for ourselves right now. Or if we are doing everything right, so to speak, and then still bad stuff happens to us, then this is obviously bad karma from the past. The same with good fortune. The good stuff that happens to us is partially due that I'm doing the really good things right now. I act very skillfully. But some people, everything just falls to them. The business is super successful. Whatever they do, and it prospers. But this is good karma. It's not good luck. It's good karma. So we have conviction in that. If we let go, is an important act of letting go, and we are dropping these unwholesome, unbeneficial views. Why should I respect parents? What's the point? Why should I respect seniors or spiritual teachers? No need for that. No, this is unskillful views. They will not help us in progressing. And the dropping that attachment to that kind of view is really, really big. Really pushes us ahead. And the more we can develop dropping these mental unskillful states, that is the development of samadhi. Samadhi is not so much that you have some super skillful technique or some trick or some technique, some meditation system that now you can develop samadhi and jhana. Samadhi and jhana is simply a result of the mind dropping all these unskillful mental states. Dropping all these unskillful thoughts, dropping all these unskillful intentions, dropping the 5 hindrances, abandoning and letting go of the 5 hindrances. Now that is the condition residing in the mind unifying. If the mind is filled with sensual desire, ill will, restlessness, laziness, and doubt, whatever technique you use, however much you try to apply that, the mind will not unify. And these 5 hindrances, when you can actually drop them and let them go, then the mind can unify. And once the mind has unified and these hindrances are weak, we are no longer lying to ourselves so much. And now we can look at reality as it truly is. And then we can do the really big letting go. The deep-rooted attachment, the anusaya, the holding on to this body, the holding on to the 5 khandhas, to perception, to feelings, whether pleasant or unpleasant, to intention, I want this, I don't want that, to consciousness, the whole field of experience in the 6 senses. Now that is a really deep letting go, based on wisdom and seeing things as they truly are. Namely, they're all impermanent. They're all not me, not mine. Now these contemplations, not me, not mine, impermanent, unsure, unsatisfactory. Now these are techniques that we can drop things. So once the mind overcomes the hindrances, that we look with wisdom, and wherever we look, maybe we see impermanent, not me, not mine, and we can drop it. And we are a good center. And we can empty the sack down to the last gift for the last little child, down to the last attachment in our mind. This is the one job we have as Buddhists. Just like Santa has got only one job. Whatever there is in the mind, we empty it, give it away. And as you gradually notice, the more you give away, the lighter you are, the happier you are. You get really into it. Just like Santa is really into it. You see him with his beaming smile when he does his job. So you do your job as a good Buddhist with a beaming smile, and you're giving things away. Everything you give away, whether the mind or the body, inside the mind, whether it's material outside, it makes you smile more. Until you give absolutely everything away, and that is freedom, that's liberation. That's what is Nibbana. The absolute letting go of everything. So my blessings to all of you to be a good center, to empty that sack of your mind, and to experience a total freedom, which is a result of letting go of everything, of emptying the sack completely.